Over the past few years, real-time strategy games have grown in leaps and bounds, propelling themselves from tradition and being more open to experimentation. Oftentimes, these challenges are spurred by the genre's active community. In Warcraft 3 alone, there are thousands of custom levels in circulation, the most popular of which is Defense of the Ancients. Dota takes the hero units of Warcraft and builds the gameplay around them, turning the RTS into more of a competitive action game. Gas-Powered Games takes the general premise of Dota and applies it to a retail release with Demigod, and has players fighting potential deities against each other in massive arenas, hoping to capitalize on the niche market. In Demigod, AI-controlled units continually spawn from portals and march along predetermined paths, attacking each other when they meet mid-map. They'll remain deadlocked in this endless battle until affected by an outside force. Demigods are that outside force. They roam the map, wielding powerful weapons and magical attacks, turning the tide of the battle and facing off against each other in massive godly duels. Players choose from one of 8 unique demigods, each with unique skills and abilities, which are unlocked by killing enemy units and destroying structures. Players also continually gain money, which can be spent to buy equipment and further customize their character. Though each demigod has a general focus, there are plenty of different ways to build each character. While it's possible to build Rook, the 50-foot man castle, as an offensive powerhouse, it's also viable to build him like a tank, putting an emphasis on health and armor while investing points into his defensive abilities. While Defense of the Ancients put a focus on having dozens of playable characters, Demigod has only 8, separated into either the RTS-style general or the demigod-killing assassin. Each is unique, and none are too reliant on each other, creating 8 well-fleshed-out characters. The only time the lack of characters really becomes an issue is in bigger games, which support up to 10 players. Since gamers quickly choose favorites, large games usually have 2 or 3 doubled units, which seems to go against many of the ideas that makes Demigod work. The developers promise downloadable content fairly regularly, a promise which, if fulfilled, will help the game immeasurably. Depending on the mode, the goals of Demigod are different. There are several to choose from, ranging from a typical team deathmatch to Conquest, which has players trying to destroy their enemy's citadel. Beyond these objectives, capturable flags are scattered throughout the battlefield and give bonuses to the team currently controlling them. These create an additional level of strategy to the game, forcing players to balance their time between capturing points, killing enemy demigods, and attempting to destroy structures. Suffice to say, it can get hectic. Demigod has great, refined gameplay, focusing on an easily accessible, though entirely deep experience. Thanks to a wealth of customization options and different ways to play, no 2 games will be the same, giving Demigod a good amount of replayability. While Demigod is lacking any real narrative, there's a single-player aspect to the game in the form of skirmishes and tournaments. Opponent AI comes in various difficulties, with the lower being extremely easy, while the high end can be surprisingly difficult. Computer opponents and allies know the rules of the game fairly well, and will equip themselves with items while playing in a similar, although more predictable fashion to actual people. It's no replacement to playing the game with friends, but the harder opponents can prove quite challenging, and are good enough to justify practicing new character builds on. Demigod's multiplayer should be its high point, and when it works, there's no doubt that the developer intended on this aspect being the game's selling point. Skirmishes, custom matches, and tournaments are available, giving gamers plenty of chances to test their might against players from all around the world. Sadly, the game's launch saw a slew of issues with the online multiplayer, ranging from trouble joining games to problems staying in them.
A player has left the game.
If players' connections drop, they're replaced with computer AI, but in order to keep it balanced, the computer players are usually fairly easy. In a game that rewards players for killing opponents, adding dumbed-down AI as a teammate is more destructive than it is beneficial, and it's a larger detriment in Demigod than it is in most other games. Hopefully the connection issues are fixed in the near future, because there's great potential in the game's multiplayer. While the gameplay might be similar to a 6-year-old Warcraft 3 custom map, there's one aspect that makes it stand out above all else. Demigod looks and sounds beautiful. The game's levels are wonderfully varied and imaginative, and Gas-Powered Games has managed to take some of the better aspects of their Supreme Commander series, namely the ability to zoom in and out incredible distances, and apply them flawlessly to Demigod. Characters look fantastic, and the typically low-resolution units of RTS games are extremely detailed and well-animated. While the frame rate struggles a bit when the gameplay gets too intense, the engine usually holds together fairly well. Brad Wardle, CEO of the game's publisher Stardock, said it best. Right now, Demigod, as a game, is awesome. Demigod, as an online service, however, sucks ass. That statement couldn't be any more true. With any luck, these problems will be addressed quickly, because the gameplay is simply too engaging to allow a few network problems to get in the way of an otherwise fantastic experience. It should be easy to pick up and play for RTS advocates, different enough for anyone unfamiliar with the genre, and simply bliss for fans of Defense of the Ancients. Though it's likely worth waiting until the multiplayer issues are resolved, it's easy to recommend purchasing Demigod for anyone interested in epic battles of godly proportions. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the full text review on GamerVision.com.